This little sister-in-law is quite charming. I heard you have an even more beautiful wife. I think you have successfully walked the path of dual cultivation, right? Have you ever thought about it? If you unfortunately die suddenly, your wife and sister-in-law, perhaps it will become someone else's dual cultivation principle. Then there will be no chance for regret. Payday, you opened her mouth. I want to mediate again, but upon hearing Changchenzi's words, couldn't help but close my mouth in despair. How can we still salvage this situation? The room fell silent once again. Qin Zhengyan fell silent for a moment. A smile suddenly appeared on his face. Such a warm invitation from my dear friend. I can't refuse any longer. However, regarding the division of shares, I still have some ideas. It's not convenient to say here. How about tonight at midnight? In the snow moon forest on Yunlin Mountain. Chang Chunzi laughed heartily. Qin Daiyu is so perceptive of the times. The future is boundless. Then we meet at Yunlin Mountain. But Chang Daiyu, accompanying my friend on a slow walk, Qin Zhengyan stood up to see off the guests. Walked to the door. Chang Chanzai turned back. There was a warning in his tone. Qin Daoyu, you bring along 2 wives. If you want to leave quietly at night, I'm afraid it may cause many inconveniences. Qin Zhengyan smiled gently. Don't worry, fellow cultivator. Tonight at midnight, I will definitely go. Chang Chenzi finally laughed contentedly twice. Step outside. Pei Dao Yu following behind him. Wry smile of helplessness. Zhao Qin raised his hands in salute. Qin Daiyu, I have important matters to attend to tonight. You should have a good talk with Senior Zhang. He won't go tonight. It expresses the idea that they do not help each other. Originally, he intended to stand by Qin Zhengyan's side. But Qin Zhengyan's cultivation, only at the 5th level of Kai training, it is one small realm lower than Changchenzi. He really didn't dare to bet on the wrong treasure. But I don't want to offend Qin Zhengyan, so I can only choose not to go tonight. Express loyalty and history. Qin Zhengyan nodded. Rest assured, my fellow cultivator. I understand what you mean. Qin Zhengyan's expression was calm. Pei Dao Yu felt an inexplicable shiver in her heart. Let's not say too much right now. Bowing with hands clasped, I take my leave. Catch up with Chen Chanzi. Pei Dao Yu whispered. Elder Chen, you don't need to be so resolute with deist Qin. After all, we are seeking wealth. One more enemy. Better to have one more friend. Friend, Chang Chanzi sneered. He is not worthy. Repeatedly sabotaging my business. Didn't kill him on the spot. It is already out of respect for the manager of Yunlin town. I still want to be polite to him. Pei Dao Yu let out a silent sigh. Dao, Elder Chen, I do have important matters tonight. I can't go with you. Chang Chenzi's thoughts were clear to see. Coldly smiled and waved hands. Walked away on their own. Pei Dao Yu stood in place. Shake your head. Jailin Dan walked towards Fang. Tonight is lively. It cannot be forced. But I need to know right away the result of the negotiations on Yunlin Mountain. This is how to achieve the fastest speed. Hold tight to that real thigh. Qin Zhengyan, they've bullied me to the point of no return. You actually want to talk to him. The others are just cowards, so be it. You're scared of this kind of thing too? Qin Zhengyan's home. Liu Su walked out of the kitchen. Expression cold as ice. Just now, he also heard Chan Chunzi's words. If it weren't for the thought that, cannot hide identity. He has already rushed out to take action. I didn't expect Qin Zhengyan. Hearing that Chang Chunzi insulted the Saintess, he can actually still play the shy turtle. How could a saintly woman fall for a man like this? Qin Zhengyan ignored Liu Su's accusations. Give him the spirit container with all his belongings, calmly said. Su, tomorrow at the hour of the rabbit. If I haven't returned yet, you should quickly leave Yunlin town. The river of search. You too should not come back. Find a good place to live well. Liu Su Yizhen. What do you mean by your temperament? Qin Zhengyan's expression, it inexplicably reminded him of the Battle of Tanliu Mountain, the front gate master. Words spoken to fellow seniors and juniors. At this moment, Qin Zhengyan, so remarkably similar, Liu Su felt a flutter in her heart. For a moment it fell silent. Qin Zhengyan smiled. He took out a few talisman papers and elixirs again. All are used for protection in combat. And quick treatment, handed to Liu Su. If I really don't come back, you remember to tell the river of knowledge. In this life I can meet him. It is my greatest fortune. Liu Su was staring at him intently. Qin Zhengyan smiled and said, I didn't have time to buy groceries today. We will go out to eat tonight. After saying that, he walked out the door. Hello, wait for me. Liu Su hurriedly followed him outside. Qin Zhengyan took him out of Jeyu Alley, arriving at the bustling Kaifeng Street. Walked into the most famous moon shadow pavilion in town. Sitting down in a luxurious private room, Qin Zhengyan smiled and said to Liu Su, at that time, someone got married in Lingdon Workshop. The wedding banquet is set at Moonshadow Pavilion. It's a pity that the person was rejected by the female cultivator. Died himself too. The wedding banquet didn't happen. Today, we will eat at the Moonshadow restaurant ourselves. Liu Su blinked. How did that person die? Qin Zhengyan did not answer. At that moment, the waiter brought in the dishes. Bring the dishes out together. Qin Zhengyan smiled. Liu Su, please serve me the best dishes at home. Eat a bit more today. Liu Su was staring at him intently. Qin Zhengyan said, Eat up. The two quickly finished their meal. Qin Zhengyan got up. Liu Su suddenly grabbed his wrist. Son-in-law, tonight I will go with you. Qin Zhengyan smiled and raised his hand. Gently pat his head like you would a child. Su, you should go back and pack your things. Remember my words. But after speaking, he walked out of the moon shadow pavilion. Look up. The night is as dark as dusk. Dark clouds cover the sky. He smiled. On a dark and windy night of murder, Wu Town, senior sister, the alchemist who refines high-quality elixirs is named Ning Huirong. Fifth layer of Kai refinement, third-rank alchemist. He bought high-quality spirit herbs from the Northern Wilderness treasure-hunting team. This person is a wandering cultivator. I just joined the Chandon Pavilion. There should be no problem. Yuo Zhenfeng is using a communication talisman. Zhang Yi reported the investigation findings in Wuzai town to you. After a moment, a reply came from the other side. Return to Ziyu Peak. Let's talk after the grand tournament. Yes. Yuo Zhenfeng said to the more than 10 outer disciples in front of him. Pack your bags immediately. Now, follow me back to Ziyu Peak. Everyone looked at each other. Finally, someone bravely made a suggestion. Master Yuo, we just arrived in Wuxi town this morning. Another busy day has passed. It is already late in the evening. Why don't we take a break for a night? Let's set off early tomorrow morning. Although they are all cultivators, but running from Yunlin town to Wuxi town, already tired. After a long day of investigating that Dan master, everyone was starting to struggle. Yuo Zhenfeng gave the speaker a cold glance. Taking you out is to train you. You can't even handle this little hardship. Still dreaming of seeking immortality, the person lowered their head. Dare not speak any more. Yuo Feng let out a cold snort. Take him far away. Someone couldn't help but mutter. We ran all the way. Brother Yuo, however, traveled swiftly using his flying sword. He is naturally not tired. Someone nearby reminded. Don't say that. Be careful not to let the senior brother hear you. Everyone dispersed to pack their bags. Only Fang Zhu remained frozen in place, a little distracted. A male cultivator who was familiar with him came over. Fang Shaimai. What's wrong with you? Fang Zhu came back to her senses. Quickly said, It's nothing. Brother Chen, I went back to my room to pack my things. After speaking, he quickly walked towards his room. Since I heard Sister Qiu's words yesterday. Fang Zhu then realized that her Tao heart had changed. Or say, she finally found her true heart. In the past, I practiced to avoid disappointing my parents. Now is to seek enlightenment and become an immortal. Let parents cultivate and attain longevity together with oneself. That's nothing. The only thing that puzzled her was, now in her heart, it seems there are differences between the sects. I have already let go of many attachments. There was even a vague thought in my heart. If it is the technique of Yin-Yang sect, cannot quickly improve cultivation level, then she needed to find a more suitable cultivation method for herself. Feian sect, Thunder Sword sect, or perhaps the land of the Eastern Emperor, Northern Wilderness Mountain, even the magical techniques of the land of Zemo. It's not impossible. Although my parents are cultivators, but to earn her tuition fees, years of hard work, the body has long been depleted. At most, I can live another 20 years. Must find the secret method to store the soul. Can preserve the souls of parents for 100 years. Within these 120 years, she must become an immortal. The martial arts of Yin-Yang sect. Is it enough? If it's not enough, do I really need to learn the magic gate techniques? On this day, Fang Zhu felt conflicted in her heart. Doing things in a daze. Repeatedly scolded by Luo Zhenfeng. In Luo Zhenfeng's heart, she has already been classified among the unqualified. This trip back to Ziyu Peak will send her back to the cultivator's tomb. Another arrangement. Half a stick of incense later, a group of people had already left Wuzai town, moonlight above, rushing to Jinyang City. These outer disciples, not yet qualified to use a flying sword, according to their twisted fate. It will take at least 3 days. Only then can we reach the town of Zai. Yuo Zhenfeng was still putting on an act, running alongside these outer sect disciples. After more than 10 miles, Yuo Zhenfeng no longer wished to waste any more effort. One move, a brilliantly shining flying sword. It flew out from the sword sheath on his back. Under the envious gaze of the crowd, Yuo Zhenfeng leaped lightly, stepping on the flying sword, speaking loudly. I will go ahead first. You wait with all your strength. 3 days later, I will wait for you at Jinyang Temple. Finished speaking. The sword beneath my feet slowly ascends. Yuo Zhenfeng stood with his hands behind his back, standing on the flying sword, under the full moon, clad in fiery garments, strands of hair dance in the wind, has a graceful, ethereal demeanor. Some disciples, though not angry, but was also captivated by his charm. There is also a female disciple, glimmering in the eyes, full of obsession, said the earth, a crimson flame. Zhao Bangkong's Luo Zhenfang shot away. The flames illuminated the night sky, reflecting Luo Zhenfeng's panicked face. He exclaimed, leaped down from the flying sword, fell to the ground in a somewhat awkward manner. Suddenly a wave of cold air shot out, unexpectedly in the sky. That made grade flying sword, frozen into an ice block, Bayan Shenju Yi. The outer disciples were in a state of panic. They started to shout, "What's going on? Encountering wild high-level beasts. Have you tamed the spirit beast? Everyone be careful. Brother Yuo, are you okay? What's the rush?" Yuo Jinfeng shouted loudly. The panicked disciples. Finally, it has quieted down a bit. He looked ahead into the pitch-black forest. He sneered. "Which reckless thing is this? Dare to cause trouble for Jinyang's sect?" While speaking, shook the purple brocade robe on himself, intended to remind the other party, "I am an inner disciple of the Jinyang sect." A moment later, in that dense, dark forest, a figure slowly emerged. This figure is tall and curvy, a red-haired person, a red dress, wearing a red veil over her face. The gauzy garment radiated a chilling cold. His body felt half bird, half scorched, half shrouded in icy mist. The eerie part. It makes one shiver. What kind of person? The outer disciples shouted angrily. Yuo Jinfeng's pupils suddenly contracted. Kinglian men Yunnayan, Yunlin Zhengwai, Yunlin Mountain, at the foothill, in the midst of pure white snow. There is a forest. Yunlin Mountain is covered in snow year-round. The grove on the hillside. You can see the full moon in the snow. Thus it is called Zuyuelen. But now it's winter. Extremely cold. It is now the purple hour again. In the snowy moonlit forest, since it is rarely visited by people, Zhu Dai, an old man with white hair, slowly walked over, coldly stated, "I have arrived on time for the appointment. Where is Qin Zheng?" This person is Changchunzi. During the day, Qin Zhenyan. Meet him at the snow moon forest during the hour of the rat, negotiating the profit sharing for future alchemy cooperation. Changchunzi was quite disdainful of this, guessing that Qin Zhenyan, it must be fear of losing face in front of the sister-in-law. He has arranged to meet him late at night. That sister-in-law is indeed a beauty. "I saw you, lion. Wait a moment, I will exert the pressure of the sixth layer of practice. Let Qin Zhenyan take care of this little sister-in-law. Gift for myself to be a concubine. It's not entirely impossible." HMPH. Changchunzi was deep in thought. A chill suddenly rose behind me. Looking back, a beam of golden light was shooting toward him. Flying sword talisman. Changchunzi recognized this type of attack talisman. Not afraid at all. With a swift movement they dodged. But deep down there was extreme shock and anger. "How dare you ambush me?" At this moment he finally understood. Qin Zhenyan invited him to come here. It's not about negotiating the division of the elixir, but wanted to assassinate him. This made Changchunzi furious. "Your cultivation level is at the 5th layer of Kai refinement. You actually want to kill me at the 6th level of Kai training. Really think of oneself. Are they the geniuses who can challenge higher levels? How dare you?" Changchunzi was born into a moderately sized family of cultivators. "Our ancestors were once the officials of Jinyang clan, just one step away from reaching the golden elixir. There are ancestors in England. The Zheng family lives in a small town near Jinyang city. But there are also some forces and cultivation resources. Changchunzi's cultivation talent is ordinary. It took over 100 years to reach the 6th level of Kai training. However, relying on resources piled up at home, he finally became a third-rank alchemist over 10 years ago, finally rid of the title of a useless Xian, relying on family connections again. caught the attention of several inner disciples of the Jinyang sect. This became one of the suppliers of low-grade elixirs for the Jinyang sect. Changchunzi is already over 100 years old. However, most of the achievements rely on the support from home. Never experienced the hardships of the grassroots practitioners. The dangers of the cultivation world were also underestimated. So Qin Zheng said that they met in the secluded mountains late at night. He also had no more vigilance. One is used to acting recklessly. The second is that they consider their cultivation superior to Qin Zhengyan, even if this child acts against his duties. He is not afraid either. Just like now, after that flying sword talisman, the sound of whistling through the air echoed again and again. A grade 1 attack talisman, continuously shooting towards Changchunzi. Overestimating oneself. Changchunzi laughed heartily, with a wave of the long sleeves. More than 10 talismans flew out. Shoot down the talismans coming from the opposite side one by one. His deputy stood firm, with a stern expression. Qin Clan's illegitimate son, if you appear at this moment, kneel down and beg for mercy, and send your wife and that sister-in-law to me. I might consider sparing your life. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Once again, more than 10 beams of light shot over. Changchunzi's expression was cold. He also crafted more than 10 talisman papers. Once again, block all of Qin Zhengyan's attacks. His anger gradually intensified. Spiritual energy flows. The pressure of the 6th layer of Chi refinement, surging outwards. Since you don't know the consequences, don't blame me for being ruthless. Changchunzi has made up his mind. Do not kill Qin Zhengyan for now. Break his limbs. Then throw it in front of his wife and sister-in-law. Let him lose his dignity. Once again, Qin Zhengyan had to watch helplessly as he dominated his 2 women, after he endured endless physical and emotional torment. Only then will I kill him. So it seemed she couldn't withstand his spiritual pressure. In the grove where Qin Zhengyan was hiding, once again I shot out several talisman papers. This time there is actually a 2nd grade thunder talisman. The time machine shot out with a faint thunderlight. The momentum is astonishing. Changchunzi let out a cold snort. He also threw out a 2nd rank talisman paper. This talisman is called Jinyan talisman. After using it, suddenly transformed into a ball of golden flames. In an instant, the few talismans thrown by Qin Zhengyan were swallowed. A golden flame exploded in mid-air. The flying snow on the ground also exploded. In an instant, flames and white snow soared together. Amidst the swirling smoke and snowflakes, a shadow finally emerged slowly. He wore a blue brocade robe, hairline high and suspended. Her face was a bit pale, holding a short sword that glimmers with a blue light. It is indeed Qin Zhengyan. Changchunzi's face turned pale. He, a cold laugh. Just a low-level robe cultivator. Thought I had reached the 5th level of Pi refinement. So you can kill beyond your level, right? Today I will show you what is meant by a frog at the bottom of a well. One glance at Qin Zhengyan's face reveals everything. He is resisting with all his might the pressure of cultivating Chi to the 6th level. If it really comes to blows, I'm afraid even the shape and speed will be affected. You think you can kill me with this? Changchunzi felt increasingly amused. It became increasingly astonishing. I feel insulted. Qin Zhengyan slowly began to speak. Your talisman paper has run out, right? Changchunzi Yizheng suddenly burst into laughter. What if it's all used up? Why bother using talismans to kill you? He hurriedly arrived at Yunlin town to demand an explanation, bullying Qin Zhengyan because his cultivation is not as high as one's own. I really didn't bring many talismans with me. However, Qin Zhengyan's heart was filled with deep schemes. Yet it made Changchunzi's heart feel a slight vigilance. Just now, a show of pretense. Actually, it also hides a mystery. He still has a talisman paper on him. It is his hidden killing move. But this killing move won't be needed. Look at the short sword in Qin Zhengyan's hand. He sneered. So it turns out he's a sword cultivator. You repeatedly steal my business. Earned sacks. It's just to buy the sword cultivator's technique. Unfortunately, Changchunzi's right hand trembled. A long sword is already in hand. The sword glimmered with a golden light. The quality is obviously better than the short sword in Qin Zhengyan's hand. Much higher. I am also a sword cultivator. Changchunzi's white beard moves without wind. Yodobijai, a blade of sword energy. The book is aimed at Qin Zhengyan. The cultivation method he practices is quite advanced. With a single move, a long-range sword Kai was unleashed. It looks quite dashing. Qin Zhengyan quickly rolled over. Changchunzi's hands moved constantly. Sword energy chased after Qin Zhengyan, shooting out. Forces him to the left and right of the table. In a terrible predicament, Changchunzi burst into laughter. I really am a genius. It turned out to be just a wild dog rolling on the ground. Qin Zhengyan remained silent. The clothes on his body were torn by the sword's energy, rising to fame but then falling apart. It seems that it can't hold on much longer. Just, unknowingly, he is getting closer to Changchunzi. Changchunzi unleashed a surge of sword energy. Qin Zhengyan crouched down to dodge. Suddenly lunged forward. The short sword transformed into a streak of blue light. Directly strike the head of Changchunzi. At the same time, his spiritual power has also reached its peak. The spiritual pressure of Changchunzi shattered the barrier. Sixth layer of Kai refinement. Changchun's pupils constricted. Finally understood. Qin Zhengyan was just hiding his true strength. That pale face and awkward evasion. It's all a trick. It's all about letting him lower his guard. After getting closer, only then did he suddenly unleash his full power. The scheming of the dead child is surprisingly profound. Sheathed the sword and returned to defense. Barely blocked the short sword in Qin Zhengyan's hand. He felt a tightness in his chest, was pushed back several steps by this blow, and Qin Zhengyan's offensive continued, relentlessly launching aggressive attacks. Shuzi. Changchunzi could only fend off clumsily. The anger in my heart grew even stronger. The dead child actually concealed their abilities. You have pushed me to such a state. But after a brief encounter, Changchunzi discovered Qin Zhengyan's short sword. It's just an ordinary magical artifact. And his offensive. There's no particular order to it. It's a wild chopping and hacking. The attacks seem fierce. The dead child has no real power, no family or sect support behind. Even if one's cultivation reaches the 6th level of Kai refinement, but there is no cultivation method to support it. Empty is the realm of cultivation, but do not know how to use it. Shuzi, you are no match for me. Still unwilling to surrender. The conditions from earlier are still valid. Changchunzi laughed heartily. Suddenly my heart felt at ease. A wandering cultivator is, after all, a wandering cultivator, still unable to transcend social classes. He practiced the suxi technique. The swords are resurged violently in my hand, quickly forcing Qin Zhengyan to retreat. Just about to cut off the limbs of the dead child. Slowly torment him. Suddenly caught a glimpse of Qin Zhengyan's eyes. A faint red glow emerged. Changchunzi was suddenly startled. On New Dan. The next moment, Qin Zhengyan's movement suddenly quickened. the blue light emitted by the short sword. Like a raging tide, he swung down fiercely at Chang Chunzi. Ah, Haj, with a blood-curdling scream and a loud bang. A large tree suddenly snapped. Snowflakes fall from the branches. Bury the fallen figure below. Qin Zhengyun stood not far away, slightly panting, still expressionless. The aura is maintained at the 6th level of Kai training. Moments later, a flash of sword light. The fallen tree in the snow. Another section was severed. Changchun Zai stands up. The shirt ripped again, still stained with a few drops of blood. Qin Zhengyun's strike just now brushed against his right chest. Let him suffer minor injuries. But this minor injury, for a practitioner at the 6th level of Kai refinement, it's nothing to worry about. Only Chang Chunzi's face. But it was unusually gloomy. Dastardly tree son, hidden skills, silently ate the Hong Dan. Just wait for the surprise attack. Chang Chunzi's voice sounded slightly hoarse, clearly extremely angry. He took a pill out from his bosom. It turns out to be Hong Nu Dan. Stuff it in your mouth. Pour coldly. Today I must let you suffer torment until death. Qin Zhengyun's expression was calm. Before Chang Chunzi finished speaking, he pounced again. Chang Chunzi brandished his sword to meet them. He learned 2 types of sword cultivation techniques. A sword kai technique, a close quarters sword technique. The matter is settled. He is not afraid to fight swords up close with Qin Zhengyun. I have a cultivation technique. You don't have it. We all ate the red anger fruit. You can't possibly be my match. Chang Chunzi no longer underestimates his opponents, but still confident, no matter how you look at it. He has more advantages than Qin Zhengyun. The 2 of them wrestled for a moment. Chang Chunzi's sword technique indeed gained the upper hand. Qin Zhengyun was forced to retreat step by step. A sword even grazed Qin Zhengyun's arm. A spray of blood blossoms. Shuzai, I see. How long can you last? Chang Chunzi's face showed a look of contention. The attack on the hands is fiercer. However, he quickly discovered his own strength. Eventually, it was gradually suppressed by Qin Zhengyun. What is the difference in the effects of Han Nu Dan? Self-made crimson rage pill, just ordinary quality. The elixirs refined by Qin Zhengyun are of high quality. At present, it seems. The effects of Qin Zhengyun's red fury pill. It should be 30% more effective than ordinary elixirs. In the life and death struggle of combat, the same type of elixir has effects that are 30% stronger. This is enough to determine the outcome. Bum. Chang Chunzi was once again confronted by Qin Zhengyun. A single sword strike forced him to retreat repeatedly. His face was flushed. The chest rises and falls. Seeing Qin Zhengyun attack again, shouted angrily, "Where can you find such a barbaric sword cultivator?" Suddenly withdrew and flew back. At the same time, he pulled out the last talisman from his bosom. Throw it into the air. Next moment, this talisman paper is blessed with golden light. It transformed into a figure 3 zhang tall, the golden giant, a span of 10 feet wide. This is Chang Chunzi's final move. Giant spirit talisman. Qin Zhengyun's expression changed slightly. The momentum suddenly came to a halt. The giant spirit talisman is a 3rd-grade talisman paper. The user infuses spiritual energy into the talisman. The talisman paper transformed into a golden giant. Fight for the summoned one. Shuzi still knows Zhu Fu. Some entice. Chang Chunzi sneered. A single finger pointed. The golden giant charged towards Qin Zhengyun. This giant spirit is extremely agile. In an instant, it was before Qin Zhengyun. A fist bigger than a pot lid. Heaven and earth seemed to crash down on Qin Zhengyun. Qin Zhengyun dodged. The giant's foot had already swept over. He hurriedly rolled on the ground, narrowly avoided. The giant's left fist came crashing down again. There's no way to avoid this now. Qin Zhengyun could only raise the short sword block. Boom! Qin Zhengyun's figure flew out, fell heavily onto the snow, opened his mouth, and spat out a mouthful of blood. The short sword artifact in his hand. It has already broken into two pieces. Chang Chunzi's spiritual power continuously injected into the body of the giant spirit. Controlling the giant spirit, it moved toward Qin Zhengyun. I admire your talent in Dan Dao. I look forward to working with you. It was meant to be a kind gesture. I don't want you, Tree. Unexpectedly, he repays kindness with hatred, truly unaware of the consequences. Qin Zhengyun wanted to stand up, but then spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. Her face was filled with resentment. You think our realms are the same. Playing a clever trick again. Can kill me. Chang Chunzai's expression was gloomy. The eyes were filled with a cruel glint. I will break your limbs, then throw you back into your home, in front of the two beauties. Let them see your misery. Juling walked in front of Qin Zhengyun. Lift the gigantic golden paw. Zhao Qin Zhengyun's right hand. Step down hard. Over 10 miles outside Misty West Town. Heileng. The trees here are dense. The tree shade blocked the moonlight. Therefore he is called Heileng. At this moment, bright as day in the spirit, a cluster of bright red flames surrounded more than a dozen outer disciples of Jinyang sect. These outer sect disciples never fought a legal battle with anyone. It was the first time seeing it. This strange flame. Everyone showed a look of surprise. At the loss, Fang Zhu pulled out a piece of the puppet tomb from her bosom. This tomb has truly transformed into a puppet surrounded by frost, holding a shield made of melting frost in hand. Frost puppet. Fang Shaimai turns out to be a second-tier puppet master. The fellow disciples beside him gasped in surprise. Fang Zhu shouted, "My puppet won't last long. The formation is a defensive array. The master uses a protective talisman. Dan Master is preparing the ice clarity pill." Every one received a reminder. This is when they finally came to their senses. This process cannot be his opponent, but senior sister commanded me to investigate the remnants of the demon sect. Zheng Wutanel, you've come right to my doorstep. Very good. Yuo Zhenfeng plans to capture this person alive. Take it back to Zhenyangzong. It's also a great achievement. Maybe we can find it inside the door. Receive preferential treatment in the big pen. Under the powerful pressure of spiritual energy from foundational cultivation, that red figure remained unmoved. Even slowly took a step forward, the sway of the waist. Graceful posture. It doesn't seem like a battle of magic, more like the mysterious goddess descending gracefully from the moon palace. Yuo Zhenfeng is upright. A sense of unease suddenly arose in my heart. This mysterious female cultivator, it's truly too strange. Except for that crimson flame, when far below one's opponent, a thread of fear surged in her heart. Could it really be? Chikshen, I come to assist you. At this moment, a woman's voice came from behind. Sound, except for Fang Zhu. Among these more than 10 outer disciples, there are 2 more female disciples. The female disciple of KL Yuo Zhenfeng. He obeyed her every word along the way, and everywhere displaying tenderness and gentleness, clearly infatuated with her. Yuo Zhenfeng felt a stir in his heart. He called out to her, "In that case, my junior sister joined me to exorcise demons." The female disciple was overjoyed, threw out several talismans, dispersed the flames before me, holding a long sword, approaching Liu Zhenfeng. A pair of enchanting eyes gazed at her with deep emotion. Senior brother, how to duel with magic. Liu Zhenfeng offered her a gentle smile. Chanai, junior sister, let's go together. Let's see what this demoness is capable of. Yes, senior brother. The female disciple was encouraged by her smile, immediately filled with fighting spirit, swinging the long sword with Liu Zhenfeng. A flash of sword light erupted. He walked straight towards the woman in red. It was just that red-clad enchantress. The shape keeps changing, yet not a single sword light could strike her, and her footsteps remained unchanged. He walked towards the crowd with determination and composure. Senior brother, this demoness is truly strange. The female disciple was somewhat surprised. Liu Zhenfeng laughed heartily. Let's get closer. She could no longer escape. Senior brother is right. Liu Zhenfeng shouted loudly. The female disciple immediately followed her. The woman in red rushed forward. The next moment, the demoness raised her hand. Another surge of crimson flames erupted. Liu Zhenfeng's pupils suddenly contracted. The flames are even fiercer than before. Even she, who is skilled at assisting in battles, it's hard to resist. In an instant, Liu Zhenfeng kicked his junior sister in the back. The female disciple let out a cry of despair. Unable to control my body, I lunged forward, instantly engulfed by flames. Liu Zhenfeng used his junior sister's body as a shield. Stop your movements in time. Step back sideways, barely escaping the terrifying crimson flames. Senior brother, save me. Oh no! In the black moon forest, a series of piercing screams echoed. But soon the sound became faint, eventually, along with that female disciple, turned to ashes and vanished. The remaining dozen or so outer disciples, dazed gaze, pale complexion. It seems hard to believe the scene before me. Then a faint, ethereal voice arose. Shaken, he. Yu Zhenfeng had never met Xia Kinglian. To be precise, I have never truly seen Xia Kinglian make a move when the three major sects surrounded and annihilated the Kinglian sect. Yu Zhenfeng was just with other fellow disciples, together guarding the outer formation. Xia Kinglian was taken by Yi Ziyu. Su Hongwen, Sang Yu and others attacked. Once appeared at the edge of the formation where Liu Zhenfeng was. At that time, Xia Kinglian just turned her head to glance in that direction. At a glance, that tall, wind-swept figure, that stunningly beautiful face, that cold and frosty demeanor, causing an unknown tremor in the heart and mind. If I could have such a woman, cultivating immortality, it seems we can simplify it as well. At that moment, various strange thoughts appeared in Liu Zhenfeng's mind. However, when Liu Zhenfeng made contact with Xia Kinglian's gaze, all evil thoughts instantly vanished. It was an indescribable indifference. It seems in his eyes, Liu Zhenfeng and so many disciples of the three great sects around him, they are all like ants. Liu Zhenfeng has a feeling, if only Xia Kinglian could take one more look. Perhaps I'm about to die. Fortunately, senior sister and uncle master, Xia Kinglian was forced back. Let him not have the chance to look this way again. That moment, Liu Zhenfeng's legs trembled, almost lost control. It feels like I've walked through the gates of hell. He finally understood. Holy Maiden of the Demon Gate, this is not just a simple title, but truly real. Devil. From that moment on, that gaze often appeared in Liu Zhenfeng's nightmares. gradually became his inner demon, causing his cultivation to remain stagnant. And now, this nightmare, it seems to have reappeared before my eyes. You, you are. Summer, Luo Feng pointed at the red-haired enchantress. Lion, step back, voice trembling. But I just can't dare. Say that name out loud completely. Dying white, controlling the frost puppet nearby. Fang Zhu resisting the flames. A mournful cry. My eyes want to tear apart. Ranbai is the one who was caught by Luo Feng. A female disciple kicked into the flames. Fang Zhu and he came out together from the Cultivator Spirit Academy. The two little girls are not only classmates. In the monastery, they still lived in the same room. Many emotions. The first time I followed my inner sect senior brother out. Both of them are very excited, especially the white dye, the worries of a young girl. Ranbai once told her close friend Fang Zhu. At that time, Fang Zhu was still smiling. She is being overly sensitive. Ranbai said earnestly, she must strive to cultivate her skills. One day, to become an heir disciple worthy of senior brother Luo. These words still linger in my ears. But the one who speaks these words with hope and innocence, at this moment, it has turned into a pile of ashes. Only her sword lay lonely on the ground. That sword Fang Zhu knows. It is the parents who are dyed white, bought for her at the Faiyuan Pavilion in Yinang City. Spent 1,000 on snacks. Dyeing the white treasure is quite beautiful. When I first got it, every night I hold you to sleep. Fang Zhu stared blankly at the sword. The image of my friend's past grace and smile flashed through my mind. Tears flowed uncontrollably from my eyes. Brother Luo, why do you want to harm Ranbai? Fang Zhu moved towards the panicking Luo Feng, shouting hoarsely. Luo Feng roared, are you crazy? It was this demoness who killed my junior sister. What are you still standing there for? Formation, help me slay this demon. Why Ran seeks revenge for his junior sister. Shizuo, the outer disciples of the Ming sect are in an uproar. In the end, I still obeyed the command of that senior brother. Quickly take your position. The array of demons has been broken. Ginyang sect is a righteous major sect. Defeating the enemy usually involves fighting with more against less. Therefore, using formations to confront enemies is the best choice. The array of all demons. This is the formation that disciples of the Jinnang sect practice most frequently. At this moment, the disciples of Shidaming are skilled in forming formations. Suddenly, the golden light great sage, a strong righteous energy surged forth, suddenly made the golden young cultivators. The younger disciples' hearts have calmed down a lot. I, Jinyang Zong, am the leader of the righteous path. How could one refuse the remnants of the demon gate? Follow me, all demons. Why Ran seeks revenge for his junior sister. Luo Feng no longer retreats. Holding a long sword, gradually a dazzling light began to emerge, pointing directly at the red-haired enchantress. Following senior brother Zhumo, the young monks were filled with fervor. Thou Shankai he. The sword in hand was swung with precision. Golden sword lights shot towards the red-haired demoness. Only Fang Zhu did not form a lineup, but instead stared intently at Luo Feng. Luo Feng unleashed a sword light. No longer practiced combat. Suddenly turned and ran away. Fang Zhu stepped forward to block him. Brother Luo, you really want to leave us behind. Yang and Feng's eyes were filled with fear. Giant Fangsu unexpectedly blocked my way. Suddenly furious. What nonsense are you talking about? Get lost. Fang Zhu raised her hands. Two more frost puppets have appeared, firmly blocking Luo Feng's way. Senior brother Luo, It was you who caused Ranbai's death. You can't leave." Allah. A series of anguished screams echoed. The two turned back to look. Suddenly his face turned pale. The once shining array of demons now has fallen into a terrifying sea of fire. The red flames not only broke through the formation. More than 10 outer disciples were also wrapped within. "Oh dear! Save me! Senior brother, please save us!" Amidst the chilling cries of anguish, more than 10 disciples from the outer door of Jinyang turned into ashes while still alive. Li Shixin, Chen Shidi, Ouyang Shaiji. Fang Zhu stared blankly at the horrific scene that resembled a hellish battlefield, trembling all over, tears streaming down. Even the spiritual energy within the body cannot gather. "Go away." A sword beam slashed down. Fang Zhu's pupils reflected a deadly blue light. Infinite expansion. She delayed Liu Zhenfeng's escape. So with this sword, Liu Zhenfeng used all his strength. "I am going to die. Killed by a senior brother." Fang Zhu can no longer move. Heart like dead ashes. Close your eyes and wait for death. "Oh dear!" A scream echoed. Fang Zhu opened her eyes. In front of me, Liu Zhenfeng had transformed into a fireball, that graceful figure like a jade tree in the wind. At this moment everything is twisting and rolling. A mournful howl echoed in the flames. "Senior brother Liu." Fang Zhu opened her mouth. The pupils are filled with crimson flames. Finally, the wailing gradually diminished, then disappeared. The twisted crimson flame extinguished. Only a pile of ashes remains, falling to the ground. The next moment, a blood-red figure, standing in front of Fang Zhu. "What?" Fang Zhu bent down, began to vomit violently. Fear, sadness, doubt, anger, countless intense emotions surged to the surface. She knelt down on the ground, constantly vomiting. I almost threw up all my bile. The red-haired woman looked down at her. In those enchanting eyes, a sense of indifference. Fang Zhu struggled to lift her head. The voice is hoarse. "Go ahead and make your move." The red-haired woman did not move. A faint voice echoed. "Do you want revenge?" "Revenge." Fang Zhu was startled, said with a bitter smile. "What grievance are you seeking revenge for? Are you looking for Liu Zhenfeng? He has already been killed by you. Are you from the Demon Gate? Just kill me already." Tired, Fang Zhu knelt before the red-haired woman. The corners of the mouth cracked open, like a walking corpse. The red-haired woman suddenly smiled. "If you have no one to care about any more, I will kill you. If you still have concerns, then I will give you a choice." Speaking, threw a short knife, with a green pill, in front of Fang Zhu. "Sai Zhen Wan. Eat it. You will obey me for the rest of your life. If you don't want to swallow the heart pill, then stab 3 times into oneself. I can also let you go. Choose." Yulin Mountain, Zuyu Forest, in the dead of night. "Ah, uncle and nephew," a dull sound echoed. In the snowy moonlit forest, rows of tall trees. They swayed a few times. A golden giant just stepped on the ground. In an instant, snow chunks flew. The ground trembles. Only, this kick did not hit the target. That mouth spewed fresh blood. A figure that can hardly move, shot out like lightning, rushed towards Changchunzi, who was controlling the giant forest. "Shuzi is up to his tricks again." Changchunzi sneered. "King Zhengyan is too cunning." He was already on guard. With one hand controlling the giant forest, he turned and chased after. With one hand holding the sword, he swung it towards Qin Zhengyan. At this moment, Qin Zhengyan's sword had already broken. He is a half-baked sword cultivator. What else can be done? However, Qin Zhengyan no longer has the sword, yet clenched their fists. Sidestepped the sword strike from Chang Chenzi. A punch was thrown. A blinding light radiated from the fist. Body cultivation techniques. Chen Chan's pupils constricted. Too late to draw the sword. In a hurry. Had no choice but to block with my left hand. Just the power of Qin Zhengyan's punch. But it exceeded his imagination. Bump! Chang Chenzi was knocked away by a punch. Finally, I landed on my feet and stood firm, looking down. His own left wrist, it has already twisted back in a strange way. It was unexpectedly broken by a punch from Qin Zhengyan. You are actually a body cultivator. Chang Chenzi finally realized. Not long ago, Qin Zhengyan deliberately used a short sword to duel with me. I just want to believe that he is a sword cultivator. Seeing Qin Zhengyan's short sword break, he completely let down his guard. I didn't expect that. This number has been acting all along. He turned out to be a body cultivator. Chang Chenzi's wrist was in excruciating pain. But there was no time to scream. Quickly controlled the giant spirit. Accelerate and rush over here. Qin Zhengyan raised his hands expressionlessly, suddenly pounded into the snow. The next moment, a stone wall rose behind him, blocked the charging giant spirit. Earth system fist technique. Chang Chenzi's voice began to tremble. Qin Zhengyan is not only about physical cultivation. It might even assign a physical training method. That punch just now broke his wrist. It should be a robust martial cultivation technique. Now use the stone wall to block the giant spirit's technique. This is the Earth System fist technique. From the very beginning, attack with a piece of talisman paper. Thought he was a sword cultivator. Then there was a deliberate act to break the short sword. Let yourself relax. Only then did he finally use his physical training technique. The scheming of the dead child is terrifying. Chang Chenzi shouted hoarsely. I also have my secret weapon. He swung his sword with his right hand. A dazzling sword light, intertwined into a web of swords. Jiao Qin Zhengyan shines brightly above. This is the sword technique passed down from the Chang family ancestors. Back then, it was precisely because of this sword technique. Only the ancestors of the Zhang family can be worshipped in the Jinyang clan. Become a disciple of the steward. Chang Chenzi kept this move until the end, just in case. At this moment, he fully unleashed the Chang family sword technique. What hidden cards does Qin Zhengyan have? Can't escape it anymore. Qin Zhengyan did not hide either. His eyes gradually turned bright red. Spiritual power rapidly ascends. Almost reached the 7th layer of the weapon refinement, Fury God Pill. Chang Chenzi couldn't believe it. After taking this Rage God Pill, it can significantly enhance combat power. But the harm is also significant. The spirit field will be damaged. Severe consequences lead to death. Is this person crazy? Chang Chenzi, still in shock. Qin Zhengyan calmly threw a punch. This punch is light as a feather. There's no strength, but a small golden snake suddenly flew out from the fist. The golden little snake transformed into a streak of light. Emerging from that sword net, it pierced through Chang Chenzi's body like lightning. Next moment, the sword network disappears. Then the giant spirit smashed through the stone wall, has turned into a pile of fatty debris. The blood moon spirit returned to silence. Chang Chenzi's body was stiff. Slowly lower your head, looking at the blood hole in my chest. This hole is not big, but Qin Zhengyan's spiritual power, it has already penetrated throughout his body, destroyed the meridians, shattered the spiritual field. Chang Chenzi looks up, opened his mouth to speak. Blood gushed from his mouth in clumps. Qin Zhengyan looked at him. Pour calmly. This is the golden divine fist, practiced to the extreme. The punch transforms into a golden dragon. My cultivation is not enough. With the power of the rage god pill, only then can you draw a little snake. But killing you is enough. Brother, Chang Chunzi's lips were like a cave, but could only emit strange sounds. Qin Zhengyan continued, I never wanted to kill anyone, but you should not speak ill of my wife. Chang Chunzi opened his mouth wide, finally uttered 3 words. I shouldn't. Spit. A dagger pierced through his body from behind. Once upon a time, Tachu emerged. Chang Chunzi opened his eyes wide, eyes filled with bloodshot. In his final gaze, a picture that once stood before him. An incredibly obsequious face appeared, but at this moment on this face. But it carried a strong spice and coldness. Chang Chunzi, you are being too unreasonable. When today's game ends, Chang Chunzi's corpse fell down. Pei Dao Yu retracted the dagger, respectfully bows to Qin Zhengyan. Senior Qin, I just found out. This Chang Chunzi's depression is detrimental to you. Hurriedly arriving, I didn't expect you to show such great power. The Lio has been killed. The junior has arrived late. Please forgive me, senior. Pei Dao's waist bent very low. The forehead was almost touching the ground. The posture was extremely respectful. Only the bloodied dagger in his hand, still holding tightly. A faint green glow was emanating from the edge of the blade. This is clearly a high-quality magical artifact. Snow and moonlight above. The snow suddenly got heavier, falling softly onto the 2 people. Qin Zhengyan looked at him calmly, suddenly burst into laughter. Why do you speak like this, fellow deist? Today I have not met Senior Chang Chunzi. Right? Pei Dao Yu laughed heartily. Indeed, after I left Yunnan City with Senior Chang. Then we parted ways. Not sure where Senior Chang has gone. Qin Zhengyan said, in Yunlin town, people come and go. You must have seen quite a few people, accompanying the path of jade. Senior Qin, don't worry. In order to protect the source of the high-quality elixir, we all had our disguises when we entered the town. Others cannot recognize. Qin Zhengyan chuckled, accompanying a fellow cultivator with thoughtful consideration, decisive in actions. In the future, my achievements will surpass yours. Pei Dao's waist bent even lower. With both hands, I hold that short knife. Senior Qin dazzles me. The little person just wants to earn a little snack. Do not want to get involved in anything else. The little person swore. From now on, willing to be a pawn for my senior. Puzzled, seeing Qin Zhengyan not moving, he continued, I have figured out Chang Chunzi, the connections within the Jinyang clan. It's just a matter of adding more fragments. Senior, don't worry. I will take care of clearing this section. If we earn snacks, divided by the senior's decision. I have no second thoughts. Qin Zhengyan fell silent for a moment. Xiao Dao. Pei Dao misunderstood. I am just a wandering alchemist. You and I will delve into the art of alchemy together. Earning snacks is just a side benefit. How could I covet your magical artifact? Please take it back quickly. The senior is magnanimous. The little man admires. From now on, the senior is Lin Danfeng's big boss. Pei Dao Yu bowed and said. Then he retracted the short knife. The 2 exchanged a glance. Laughing heartily, Pei Dao Yu suddenly said, Qin Senior, this corpse, do you need a little help? He discovered, since just now, Qin Zhengyan underfoot, and has not moved an inch since. Could it be Qin Zhengyan is already severely injured? Pei Dao Yu's eyes sparkled. The glimmer in his eyes flickered and vanished. Zuyu's final moment. The snow has grown heavier, falling onto the blood-soaked ground. Soon that trace will fade away. Bright red coverage on Pei Dao's face, still wearing a respectful smile. Her eyes were fixed tightly on Qin Zhengyan. A moment later, Qin Zhengyan suddenly lifted his foot, slowly walked over to him, calmly said, "If my fellow cultivator wants to help me clean up the mess, I am truly grateful. Just don't know. Do you have any other ideas?" When the last sentence was spoken, his voice gradually became cold. Pei Dai saw him walking with ease. The breath was also very steady. A cold sweat broke out on my back. This person has a clever layout. Meticulous. Strikes with ruthless precision. Changchunzi with many hidden cards. All were killed. I am also enchanted by ghosts. How dare you try to take advantage of the chaos? What a long and idle life it is. Follow this person closely. Maybe in the future there will be great achievements. Why be so short-sighted? At that moment he quickly stepped forward to bow. "Senior, please calm down." It was a slip of the tongue by a petty person. The little person returned to the spirit elixir workshop first. "Prepare the houseware and night atmosphere. The senior can take over at any time." Qin Zhengyan finally stopped, nodded lightly. The little person takes their leave. Pei Dao Yu bowed again. "Hurry and leave." Waiting to accompany Dao Yu as she walks away, Qin Zhengyan stood up straight. Suddenly everything came to a halt. He opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. The breath also became weak. He fought with Changchunzi for a long time. I was already injured. Plus, after continuously eating, Paul knew Dan and knew Shen Dan, especially the third rank Rage God pill, boost combat power in a timely manner, but it also places a huge burden on the body. In fact, Qin Zhengyan had already reached his limit. May fall at any moment. But if he had shown even a hint of weakness just now, I'm afraid Pei Dao Yu will act immediately. This little alchemy workshop owner, the situation is actually more dire than Changchunzi. Her thoughts are also very profound. Collaborate with him. The risk is considerable. But now Qin Zhengyan has no time to consider these things. He forced himself to lift his spirits. Take away everything on Changchunzi. Scoured through everything. During the duel, Changchunzi has finished casting all the talismans. Qin Zhengyan, however, did not find any useful talismans or elixirs. I found a storage bag. This storage bag is of average craftsmanship. It doesn't seem that advanced. Input spiritual power. Open the storage bag. There are dozens of elixirs inside. They are all non-combat types. Packing completed. Qin Zhengyan's long sword fell to the ground. The sword emits a faint glow. It seems to be an extraordinary low-tier magical artifact. There is no time to observe carefully at this moment. Put the longsword into the storage bag. Carry the corpse of Changchunzi, entering the depths of the Snow Moon Forest. Qin Zhengyan and his master often practiced here, familiar with the terrain in the forest. There is a cave of Zhu Linglang inside. Zhu Linglang is a second-rank spirit beast. Rather fierce. Especially has a huge appetite. Throw Changchunzi's corpse into the cave. Soon the sound of biting and chewing echoed inside. Qin Zhengyan silently turned around. Walking out of the Snow Moon Forest, came down the mountain. In the distance, rows of houses in Yunlin town can already be seen. But his footsteps grew heavier. The line of sight gradually became blurred. The backlash of the Rage God pill let the meridians within him ache painfully. Linshan seemed like he was about to crack. In the future, there's no need for Rage God pills to kill anymore. murmured a sentence. Qin Zhengyan fell to the ground. Again two. Next, a graceful figure appeared in the blurred vision. Wife, you're back. Qin Zhengyan had a dream. Standing on a pile of corpses, holding a head in the left hand, holding a heart in my right hand. He was covered in blood, yet not a single drop is one's own. At this moment, a petite and delicate figure approached from ahead. Qin Zhengyan panicked, hastily said, "Wife, I don't want to kill. It was these people who came to kill me first. I am not a bad person. I am not. Your movements are not sharp enough." On the round little face of Qiu Zhai, no expression at all, gently trembling, a strike that always hits the target. To kill a person, you need 3 moves. Too slow. Come again. Finished speaking. A group of cultivators appeared behind the river of autumn, rushing towards him with various magical tools in hand. "Wife, what are you doing?" Qin Zhengyan shouted towards the distant Autumn River as the great Khan turned and walked away. Autumn River turns back. That upturned face has turned into another person, with an alluring charm. The gaze is cold and piercing. "Husband, if you cannot kill them all, you will never see me again. Hello, good kill." "Wife," Qin Zhengyan shouted loudly. A movement of the body. The sound of water splashing came from nearby. He then realized, lying in the bathtub by myself, illuminate the surroundings. It is the familiar bathroom. I have already returned home. Son-in-law, you finally woke up. A lively and charming voice drifted into my ears. Qin Zhengyan turned his head. Su Su stood by the bathtub, wearing only a tank top and shorts, revealing a large expanse of skin as white as jade. The most outrageous thing is, Su Su's hand unexpectedly reached into the bathtub. That tender palm, Zhang Tai is sticking to Qin Zhengyan, on the small belly of the donkey. "Su Su, what are you doing?" Qin Zhengyan wanted to get up, but was held down by Su Su. "Son-in-law, don't move. I will repair your meridians and spiritual fields again." Qin Zhengyan finally felt that. A wave of spiritual energy, directly from Su Su's palm, flowing into one's own body, at the same time in the bathtub. There are also streams of hot air swirling. Then, with the power of the tassel, together they surged into his meridians and spiritual fields. On the surface of the bathtub, various leaves of spiritual herbs are still floating. It must be Su Su in the bathtub, added many spiritual herbs. Again with his dragon scale eyes. The medicinal energy flowed through his body. Such a healing effect. Better than regular medical repairs. Just at this moment, Qin Zhengyan was completely naked, exposed right in front of Su Su. Still felt his hand touching her skin. It is indeed a bit awkward. Liu Su was focused on operating the dragon scale eye. Qin Zhengyan also felt embarrassed to speak. The bathroom suddenly fell silent. 1 hour later, Liu Su finally retracted her palm. "All right. The backlash power of the Rage God pill. It has already been digested cleanly," Qin Zhengyan quickly said. "Su Su, you go out first. I am getting dressed." Liu Su chuckled softly, crossing arms. "Can you stand up?" Qin Zhengyan was puzzled. Tried to get up, but found whole body feels sore and weak. "I can't even stand up." Seeing his awkward expression, Liu Su couldn't help but chuckle. "Son-in-law, do you really think the backlash from the Rage God pill on so soon? You have at least 10 hours. No one can move him." Liu Su looked him up and down. He laughed darkly. "How is it? Do you want me to help you get dressed?" Qin Zhengyan quickly said. How about I just stay in the bathtub, lie down for 10 hours? Liu Su stood with her hands on her hips. Anger filled my heart. Son-in-law, do you hate me that much? Qin Zhengyan said seriously. Hurry up and explain. It's not. Susu, there are differences between men and women. You are still not married. How can I let you serve me like this? Swaying man. Liu Su hummed softly. Just reach out your hand, holding onto Qin Zhengyan's arms. With a whoosh, he pulled him out of the bathtub. Thank you for the 5,500 points tip from Zhen Shiyu. Rolling on the keyboard is a great technique. A storm. Fen Wayu, 500 points of rewards for the harvest season. S and Ju C. Little Kaio, who loves to read books, receives a reward of 400 points. Half a green leaf, 300 points of simple, easy happiness. Dark Night Stars. Ren Fanghu is 200 points tip. I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. A Melody of Youth. Moon of the Ganges. Redeemer. Gangyan 9394. Sai Yu. Dream awakening in a new world. Yu Hua loves cultivating immortality. Park falls into the quiet valley. The evening breeze is absent for both him and her. Zaya Hua donates money. 100 tips of cloud and mist turning into rain. Rustling sound. Qin Zhengyan was directly lifted out of the bathtub by Liu Su. Liu Su Mei, Qin Zhengyan, Gao, with both hands supporting beneath his arms. Dian Kai Chayo, barely able to lift him up high. But this way, Qin Zhengyan felt completely at ease, and was completely exposed to Liu Su's eyes. Susu, you put me down. Qin Zhengyan's face turned red. A big man was actually mistreated by a woman like this. It's really too embarrassing. Liu Su was quite at ease. Gaze moving from top to bottom. Carefully scrutinize. Muttering to oneself, well, son-in-law, you actually have a fierce temper. The abdominal muscles also have 6 blocks. Well, son-in-law, you have such strong backing. No wonder the young lady is captivated by you. Qin Zhengyan felt completely powerless. Only Liu Su can hold me like this. As if appreciating a product. Ping Tu Lanzu. Heartfelt annoyance. Lord, if you continue like this, don't blame me for being rough with you. Liu Su laughed heartily. Are you that thick? Qin Zhengyan. Liu Su saw that his neck was all swollen and red, afraid that he will be consumed by anger. No longer teasing him. One hand supported his back. A hand reached to his knee. A sudden princess carry. Qin Zhengyan was picked up in a horizontal embrace. What do you want to do? Qin Zhengyan hurriedly shouted. A man is completely naked, being held in the arms of a delicate woman. This situation is truly strange. Liu Su strode out of the bathroom, entered the bedroom. He laid Qin Zhengyan on the bed, bent down. He patted his head. Good. Don't move. I'll help you get dressed. After saying that, he chuckled, wiping Qin Zhengyan's whole body with a cloth. Wipe the water off him. Then I found a set of clothes. Put it on him. During this process, Qin Zhengyan was almost completely touched by him. Liu Su occasionally pinched here. Where to pinch? With an expression full of curiosity. The Saintess's preference. Is this the body like that? It really has a lot of strength. Dressed up, Qin Zhengyan finally felt. The side effects of the internal rage god pill have eased a bit. I can move my hands and feet a little. Liu Su casually sat on the edge of the bed. Pat Qin Zhengyan's shoulder. 1 more hour later. You can move your whole body now. Qin Zhengyan looked at him. A moment of silence. suddenly said, "Thank you. Su Su may be scatterbrained and unreliable when it comes to work. But this time, if it weren't for him, I'm afraid my meridians and spiritual fields will be damaged," resulted in a significant drop in cultivation. "At least you have a conscience. Not like those guys before." Liu Su hummed softly. "Once upon a time," Qin Zhenyan asked. "Su Su, you haven't shared your past yet." Liu Su fell silent. "Once upon a time at Kinglian Gate, if the senior brothers and sisters are injured, it was also her and the healer inside the door. Let's heal together with our seniors. The senior students are heartless. Every time I finish treating their wounds, they still want to pat their heads, pinch the cheeks, say a word, 'Zio Liu Su, you are really cute.' Only the brown sugar senior sister, 'Thank you' every time to Liu Su. That day, when the Saintess breaks through, almost went mad. Hong Tang Shaiji goes out. Find the spiritual liquid needed for the Saintess's breakthrough." Liu Su and the medical practitioners prepared various herbs and elixirs, waiting for the brown sugar senior sister to come back. However, that time, Sister Honten never returned. "Su Su Su Su, why are you crying?" A gentle voice came to my ear. Liu Su raised his hand to touch on one's own face, unbeknownst to Wen, already full of tears. After Sister Red Sugar died, the temperament of the Saintess has changed. Maybe from that day on, she decided to change herself, obey the sect leader, becoming the holy maiden of the Kinglian sect. This will bring her a bit of peace of mind. Who knows? The heart of the saint never forgave myself. She always feels that it was my own fault that Sister Hanting died. After the destruction of the Kinglian sect, her cultivation has greatly diminished. But for revenge, without hesitation, I devoted myself to one ordinary grassroots cultivator with the temperament of a saint. It must be harder than killing her. Liu Sayu grew more and more heartbroken, sad for the Saintess, feeling sad for Hong Teng Shaiji, sadness for the deceased senior brothers and sisters. Well, she suddenly, lying on Qin Zhengyan's body, crying loudly. Qin Zhengyan is currently residing. I don't understand why everything is fine. Why did I start crying? She hurriedly said, "Susu, don't cry anymore. I just bought this new outfit. You've soaked everything." Aha! Liu Su's body twisted slightly. He raised his hand to pat her, cried even louder. Qin Zhengyan was hit and gritted his teeth in pain, seeing Liu Su crying so heartbroken. "Touch her hair. All right. Don't cry anymore." But as soon as the words fell, Qin Zhengyan's hand suddenly stopped. A petite and delicate figure, standing right at the bedroom door. On that round little face, no expression at all, quietly watching the two people holding each other. Qin Zhengyan was surprised. The spiritual energy within has recovered significantly. A hand pushed Liu Su off the bed. "Get up and walk over." "But you're back." Qin Zhengyan looked delighted. "Just took 2 steps. My legs feel weak." Leaning forward, Qiu Zhai reached out to support her. "The eyebrows are slightly thick. What's wrong with you?" "Miss, you're back. The son-in-law just got into a fight. Look, the son-in-law has softened. Don't cry." Liu Su got up from the ground, crying, while introducing the situation to Qiu Zhai. Qiu Zhai looked at her wearing only a slip. Liu Su in shorts, plainly spoken. "You go out first." Liu soon noticed that Qiu Zhai's expression was off. "Dare not argue any more." Guai Guai went out. "Close the door behind you." Kyujai then turned to ask, "What are you doing?" Uncle and nephew. Qin Zhenyan tightly embraced his wife. "You finally came back. This guy's legs are weak, holding onto the autumn branches with both hands. In fact, the entire body, all hanging on my wife's body." Kyujai was pushed back by his body. The back hit the door. He actually pinned me against the wall. He has an indifferent expression. Raise your palm. Let go. 5. I miss you. Kyujai and the actions came to a halt. Unconsciously said, "We've only been apart for 2 days. A day without seeing you. Like being separated for 3 autumns." Qin Zhengyun felt his legs go weak. The whole body hangs on the autumn branches. Pressed him against the door. "Why, where to go next? I am with you. I don't want to be separated from you anymore." "Shut up." "Okay, take your hand away. Then let's do it this way. I'm not going to be polite to you anymore." In the bedroom, Kyujai and the warning voice suddenly came to a halt because of his lips, already blocked by Qin Zhengyun's lips. Kyujai and the eyes of her opponents were fiercely competing. A chilling aura of killing intent rose on his face. He raised his hand, aiming at Qin Zhengyun's head. Yet it has yet to come down. Instead, Qin Zhengyun advanced all the way forward, causing him to breathe erratically, cheeks flushed. Finally, the iceberg in those eyes, slowly melting. A moment later, Kyujai closed her eyes, thinking of his injury. Let's leave it to him this time. Just this once. Just this once. Couples relationship in overtime. Marital relationship. 51,100. Stages of marital affection. Iceberg thawing. The water flows gently. Jaya Chen. Freeing. This time you have gained practice points. 5. In the bedroom, Qin Zhenyan saw illusory characters appear before him. He felt joyful in his heart. My relationship with my wife finally made progress. This joy, not just a single labor, can gain a bit more cultivation points. More is because the lady's attitude towards him just now. There has been a significant change. During past cultivation, Qin Zhengyun belongs to the manipulated side. Like a tool, no other actions are allowed. Just now, he turned over and became the master. The lady is no longer so domineering and strong-willed. Instead, it became gentle. Let him be. Qin Zhenyan finally understood. As a husband, the feeling of actively getting closer to my wife. Indeed, it's a grand celebration of a new marriage. After a brief separation of 2 days, the ice mountain lady of my family has also started to thaw. At this moment, the river of autumn is no longer as it used to be. After working hard, he was turned over, but is held in Qin Zhenyan's arms. Her small face rested against his chest. It has a gentle and obedient charm like a little bird all alone. Qin Zhenyan felt in his heart give birth to the ambition of conquest, embracing the shoulder of the river of autumn. A hearty laugh. "Why, have you rested well? We are at— Why were you just hugging Susu?" Should I? Cold voice floated out from the gentle and obedient little mouth. Qin Zhengyun's body stiffened. Hurriedly explained, "My lady, you misunderstood. Susu used dragon scale I to heal my wounds. At that time, I had no strength in my body. He helped me put on my clothes. Take me to the bedroom to lie down. Why are you hugging Susu?" Autumn River repeats. Qin Zhengyun suddenly felt the beloved in my arms, instantly turned into a block of ice. "My lady, please listen to me." At that moment, Susu didn't know why she started to cry. I was just comforting him. Didn't you say you couldn't move? Why can I still hold onto him? I, since I can't move. Don't move tonight. The river of autumn has been spoken of. Then it crawled out from Qin Zhenyan's arms. Turned away. Qin Zhenyan quickly leaned in. Hug him from behind. Why? Su is just a little child. I treat her like a sister. Really. Let go. The river of autumn spoke coldly. Not letting go. Qin Zhenyan started to play tricks. Qiu Shai, he raised his hand to hit him. Qin Zhenyan closed his eyes, but held on even tighter. Seeing him like this, remembering that he had just been injured, Qiu Shai, he ultimately couldn't make a move. I can only let him hold me. Tonight, let's just go along with him. Only this one night. Qin Zhenyan's wounds have not healed. Not suitable for continuous labor. The two just quietly leaned against each other. But this moment of tranquility is already enough. Qiu Zhai, he felt that it seems to have softened as well. Gently closing my eyes, move back a little. Let your body, all gathered into his embrace. After a moment, Qin Zhenyan's hand began to wander upward. The river of autumn opens its eyes. Grab his hand. Qin Zhenyan dared not move again, honestly holding him tight. Second murder. How do you feel? The river of autumn suddenly asked. Qin Zhenyan's hand tightened slightly. Suddenly said, not so nervous anymore. Even the opponent's sword. Tear through my body. My mind is very clear as well. What should we do next? Even. Qin Zhenyan paused. Continue the story. When killing Changchenzi, my heart is also very calm. Why? Qin Zhenyan exerted a slight force with both hands. Qiuzhe, petite in stature, holding tightly in my arms. From now on, I can really protect you. The second duel greatly enhances Qin Zhenyan. I practiced with my master every day before. There has been some improvement. But in the end, it's not a fight to the death. This time I will duel with Changchenzi. But it was he who took the initiative. Meticulous planning. Step by step, a Kai refinement stage 6 cultivator, driven into a dead end. At the same time, he practiced 3 forms of body cultivation techniques. I have gained many insights. Next time we encounter an opponent, Qin Zhenyan would no longer feel lost or anxious. Even, he still harbored a faint hope in his heart. Let's have more duels like this. Between life and death, cultivation, martial arts technique, the fastest way to elevate one's mindset. Qin Zhenyan's voice was filled with excitement. Qiuzhe, however, casually poured. Sleep now. Qin Zhenyan adjusted himself. Qiuzhe stopped speaking. He was indeed exhausted. Just holding my wife like this. Soon fell into a deep sleep. After living in fragrance, once Qin Zhenyan fell into a deep sleep. Qiuzhe gently opened his arms, got up from the bed, stepping out of the door. I see Liu Su sitting cross-legged on the table, one-handed chin release. Lost in thought, heard the sound of the door opening. Liu Su turned around. A soft sigh. Saint Maiden, how did you get out? Qiuzhe walked up to him. Cold expression. Liu Su quickly raised his hand. Saint, don't misunderstand. I'm not interested in that guy. I just suddenly remembered. Brown Sugar Senior sister and the others. Just using her clothes to wipe away the tears. Qiuzhe suddenly spoke. He is becoming more and more like someone from Kinglian. Liu Su Yizhen. Suddenly, he clapped his hands. It's a good thing. Qiuzhe glanced at him. Good things. Liu Su suddenly jumped down from the table, linking arms with Qiuzhe. He laughed darkly. Saint, what are you thinking? Now you two are inseparable. He can't live without you. You don't want to leave him, right? Kyuje said coldly. I can leave him anytime. Yes, yes, yes. Our Saintess is cold and ruthless, the number one in the world. But that guy can't live without you anymore. Since he is becoming more and more like a person from Kinglianmen, then let's just have him join the Kinglianmen. From now on, you don't need to hide your identity, Saintess. I can be with him openly now. Liu Su exclaimed excitedly. Kyuji's expression was calm. The voice was cold. The Kinglian gate no longer exists. Liu Su quickly said, But the Saintess, you are still here. I'm still here. Please have Zhang Yan join in. Maybe we can revive the integrity door. Kyuje said, I don't want him to be like us, driven to the brink of annihilation. Liu Su Dao, but miss, you said it too. The situation is increasingly resembling the Kinglian gate. If this continues like this, even if he does not enter the gate of integrity, one day they are also referred to as the remnants of the demon sect. Kyuje's calm expression shifted slightly. A look of guilt appeared on his face. It was I who influenced him. Saint Maiden. Liu Su fell silent for a moment, seriously looking at Kyuje. Suddenly asked, Why are we called the Demon Gate? Those righteous sects. Why do you have to kill us all? Kyuje is upright, slowly shakes head. I don't know. I only know. They want to kill me. I will kill them. Liu Su linked arms with Kyuje, resting my head on his shoulder. This, have you ever thought about it? No more revenge. No longer a saintess. Live peacefully with your husband. You all practice together, seeking the way together. Isn't this great? Kyuje stood up from the ground. In this case, from now on, don't ever say that again. After speaking, he walked into the bedroom. Liu Su suddenly leaned on the table, resting my chin on my arm. The eyes rolled rapidly. What if the Saintess had a child? I don't trust her. Still so stubborn. One day, cultivation, Chi refinement level 6, 531, 3000. Skills, third rank alchemist, 5, 1000. Spiritual roots, fire attribute middle grade spiritual root, 705, 1000. Ice type middle grade spiritual root, 726, 1000. King Zhangyan opened his eyes, looking at the illusory words before me. He turned his head to take another look. Who is beside me, Kyuje? A smile appeared on his face. Last night he only worked with his wife once. Because the couple's relationship has reached 50. You can earn 5 training points at once. Now it's time to enter the Kai training level 7. Just missing 2,469 points. Practice 7 times every night. Get 35 points. Plus, I consume 6 pieces of spiritual essence daily for cultivation. Earn 30 points every day. If everything is focused on cultivation, in just one day, you can increase by 65 points. No more than 40 days, you can enter the 7th level of Kai training. Such cultivation, the entire Yulin town has lined up upstream. As long as we don't go to Jinyang City, do not provoke those sects and big families. Enough to protect myself and my wife. King Zhengyan immediately made up his mind. First, raise your cultivation to the 7th level of Kai refinement. Focus on improving the Tao of alchemy. After becoming a 4th-tier alchemist, I will try to refine it, the miraculous ice heart, revitalizing pill that can completely eradicate erysipelas. If we could eradicate the scarlet fever, Xiao Yuan Wu Yu, then I can focus on my cultivation. If only I could focus on spending a world for 2 with my wife. It's best to have a few children, a harmonious and happy family. Seeking the great way, thinking of this, Qin Zhengyun only felt a wave of heat throughout his body. Glancing to the side, the autumn river reflects those cool almond eyes. Silently watching himself, Qin Zhengyun smiled and said, "When did my wife wake up?" The river of autumn softly spoke. "What are you laughing at?" Qin Zhengyun said, "I'm thinking, if my wife and I have a child, what name should I choose?" The river of autumn fell silent for a moment, measured the body. "I can't have children." Qin Zhengyun said, "It's just right." Like, Qiuzhi got out of bed, put on the outer garment, walked out of the bedroom. Qin Zhengyun also stood up, left the bedroom. Liu Su was holding a plate of steamed buns, walked out of the kitchen, saw two people. He greeted joyfully, "This, son-in-law, good morning." Qin Zhengyun prayed. "Today Su Su got up so early." Liu Su huffed. "I've always been this hardworking, okay?" Actually, Liu Su was thinking about, "Qin Zhengyun is injured. The saint is also. I just got back last night." So this morning he deliberately woke up early to cook, to spare both of them the hardship. However, when facing Qin Zhengyun, he couldn't bring himself to say anything nice. At that moment, she shot a glance at Qin Zhengyun. "Hurry up and sit down to eat. I will treat your wounds later." Qin Zhengyun subconsciously, "I watched the river of autumn. I am ready. No need for that right. If my wife sees it." Yesterday, Liu Su and his healing methods. Tonight, she shouldn't expect to go to bed. The dragon scale eye has a peculiar reaction to the rage god pill. Finish eating and quickly go treat your wounds. The river of autumn holds up a bowl. Zio took a small sip of porridge. He then said, "That." Qin Zhengyun leaned closer to his ear and whispered, "Wife, Suzu's method of healing is a bait. Preventive treatment is the most effective. Why must we be melancholy?" Qiuzhi served a bowl of porridge to Qin Zhengyun, added another bun, put it in his bowl. He said calmly, "Qin." Zhengyun was stunned. It turns out that the wife already knew this peculiar healing method. "My husband is openly meeting with another woman. Does he not care?" Liu Su held a large bowl, feigning to drink porridge. The eyes peeked out secretly. Observe the expression of Qiuzhi he. "Hey, Saintess, you just act big. Don't get too worked up later." After finishing the meal, the river of autumn stills. Returned to the bedroom. The door slammed shut with a bang. Qin Zhengyun wanted to say something else. Liu Su has already pulled him up. "Son-in-law, let's go. Miss this means. No matter how we do it." "Hello." "Wait a moment." Qin Zhengyun still wanted to struggle, but his injuries have not yet healed. Can only move around. No resistance ability. Quickly pulled into the bathroom by Liu Su. Liu Su is nearby, starting a fire to boil water. Turning back, he said to the dazed Qin Zhengyun, "What are you staring at?" "Pull it." Qin Zhengyun said, "Su Su, please step outside for a moment." Liu Su chuckled. "We saw each other yesterday, didn't we? Hurry up." Qin Zhengyun stood still. Liu Su shot him a glance. "Pet," pretending to be serious. After finishing, he walked out of the bathroom. Qin Zhengyun quickly brought the hot water. Pour it into the bathtub. Add more cold water. 3 in the afternoon, except for 2, took off their clothes. "Sit in the bathtub." He shouted outside. "All right. Uncle, I have entered." Liu Su walked in with a big smile. The waist swayed, wiggling the hips, walked to the bathtub, leaning against the edge of the barrel, palm cradling the chin. "Who are you looking at?" What are you looking at? Qin Zhengyan quickly covered. Who is hip-hop? Liu Su rolled her eyes, put the medicinal herbs into the barrel. Then he reached his hand into the water. Qin Zhengyan immediately felt a tender and smooth palm stuck on her own lower abdomen. He was severely injured last night. No experience. Today is different. Feeling much more perceptive. Immediately lost control. Liu Su felt something. Looking down, instantly they exclaimed in admiration. Well, it seems like a sword. Qin Zhengyan quickly reached out. Block his line of sight. Liu Su laughed heartily. Son-in-law, you're quite adorable. Don't move. I'm here. Having said that, he had already activated the dragon scale eye. Suddenly, within Qin Zhengyan's body, I see through it all. Randomly manipulate one's spiritual power. From Qin Zhengyan's lower abdomen, dove in, and let the spiritual energy envelop the medicinal power, flowing gently by Qin Zhengyan's injured meridians. This is the dragon scale eye. The miraculous effects used for healing can be seen directly. The specific location of the injury in the other person's body. Then mix the spiritual energy with the medicinal liquid. Delivered to the wounded place, it resembles the pages of a hospital book from Qin Zhengyan's previous life. But it's even more useful than the pages of a book. The effect is several times better. It's just that the process is relatively lengthy. The two maintained this ambiguous position. From the time of silence to the time of 4, the healing is still not over, said a petite figure, walked into the bathroom. Qin Zhengyan opened his mouth wide. Autumn looked expressionless. After the bathtub, it was as if he didn't see Liu Su and him. Jingzhai walked to the side and took a handkerchief. Then he quickly walked out. Don't be affected. Let's continue. After a stick of incense. Qiuzhi walked in again, still expressionless. The two didn't even glance at each other. He hung the cloth back up again. Why, you... Qin Zhengyan just started to speak. Qiuzhi has already gone outside. Liu Su stuck out her tongue. Silent smirk. After another incense stick. Qiuzhi, he walked in again. He took down the innocent veil again. Why, Qin Zhengyan finally couldn't hold back any more. He said to him, "Don't worry. We are just healing. There will never be any acts of transgression." Qiu glanced at him. "I came to get something." Qin Zhengyan stared blankly at that delicate figure. Somewhat awkward, he hurriedly walked out, momentarily speechless. Liu Su let out a laugh, whispered beside Qin Zhengyan's ear, "Son-in-law, isn't our young lady very cute?" On this day, Qin Zhengyan spent almost the entire day. Everyone stayed in the bathroom with Liu Su. When the pre-treatment ends, when the two came out, I am completely drenched, as if they had engaged in an incredibly intense workout. Qiu and then quietly sat at the table. Dinner is already set on the table. The two people came out and calmly spoke. "Let's eat." Qin Zhengyan is in great spirits. Passed by with a cheerful smile. Sit down next to Qiuzhi. "Thank you, my lady." Qiuzhi, he ignored him. Moved the chair to sit to the side. Distanced herself from him. Why, Qin Zhengyan looked at him in confusion. Qiuzhi, he has already served a bowl of meat soup, sprayed a bit and placed it in front of him. Oh, Qin Zhengyan did not dare to speak again. "Obediently bow your head and drink the soup." Liu Su stretched lazily. "Oh dear, sweat all over my body. It's all the son-in-law's fault. I'll go take a shower first." After speaking, he winked at Qin Zhengyan, wiggling the hips, turned and walked into the bathroom. Qin Zhengyan had a fierce expression. "I think you're sweating." What does it have to do with me? I have been sitting in the bathtub the whole time. Not even a move. Suddenly felt two cold gazes falling on one's own face. He quickly explained to Qiu Jian, "Lady, the water in the bathtub is too hot. So Liu Su and I both sweated a lot. We didn't do anything else. Do you believe me?" Autumn turned her gaze away, looking down while eating. Coldly poured, "It has nothing to do with me." The atmosphere in the room became quiet and awkward, until Liu Su finished her bath and came out, clumsily picked up the bowl and stuffed food into it. The atmosphere became a bit more lively. Autumn's harmony and May feels a hint of jealousy. To Liu Su, "Why are you dressed like this?" Liu Su looked down. A small piece of meat stuck on her lips. "Do I not look good in this outfit?" Son-in-law. At that moment he put on a loose-fitting shirt. Here are the shorts. Fragrant shoulders and bathing legs, all exposed, as he held the bowl. Then the clothes were still trembling slightly, almost completely exposed. Qin Zhenyan focused on eating. No one even glanced at him. The autumn harmony rises. Slightly said to Liu Su, "Starting tomorrow, get up at the hour of the rabbit to practice." Liu Su's mouth was wide open. Qiu Shai, he ignored him. Jingdai entered the bedroom. Liu Su frowned. "Dui Qin Zheng Yan Dao. Son-in-law, you can whisper sweet nothings by the pillow later. Please help me plead for the young lady." Qin Zhengyan smiled and said, "I am the one who hired you for the pharmacy work. He has no right to command you." "Yes, yes." Liu Su nodded repeatedly. "So yeah, starting tomorrow, wake up at the hour of the rabbit to practice." Qin Zhengyan chuckled and said. He also got up and walked towards the bedroom. He reminded her before going in, "Remember to wash the dishes. Liu Su is waiting. Gulu a bit. Swallow the meat in your mouth." Cried out in surprise, "Miss and the son-in-law, you are bullying people too much." Qin Zhenyan entered the bedroom. Qiu sits cross-legged on the bed with closed eyes. Ignored him. Qin Zhenyan rubbed his nose. "Sit down by the bed." A hearty laugh. Why don't you go take a shower first?" Qiu Zhai and Yi Ran still do not speak. Qin Zhenyan said again, "Wife, tonight you sleep on the floor." Qiu Zhai he dan da dao. Qin Zhenyan quickly said, "Wife, it was you who agreed to Su Su's pre-chat with me. I really didn't do anything with him." Qiu Zhai he opened her eyes, coldly looked at him. Qin Zhenyan dared not speak again, only bitterly suffering. Hugged the blanket and spread it out on the ground. He sat cross-legged and began his cultivation. 1 hour later. The night is deep and heavy. Autumn's warmth brushes against the face like a candle. Sleep tight. After speaking, he lay down on the bed. Qin Zhenyan let out a groan. After lying down on the floor for a moment, he suddenly cried out in pain. "Oh dear!" A concerned voice immediately came from the bed. "What happened?" Qin Zhenyan clutched his chest, piteously saying, "Why, I think Lin Tian is starting to hurt again." As soon as the voice fell, a fragrant breeze swept in. The harmony of autumn has appeared before him. A slightly cold little hand gently rested on his lower abdomen. "The energy within you is not chaotic." A gentle call of autumn, tightly embraced by Qin Zhenyan. "Let go." He straightened himself. "I realize I've been tricked." Coldly said, "Wife, do you believe me? No matter what woman you encounter, in my heart, you are a character in this world." Qin Zhenyan began to speak sweet nothings. This level of Chishi pickup lines, if it were in a past life, not even worthy of being a simp. At this moment, Qin Zhengyan could clearly feel that. The delicate body in my arms suddenly went limp. He continues to work hard. Madam, the 2 days you were absent, I think of you every moment, even if Susu took off all her clothes. In front of me, you are still the only one in my mind. Susu is not wearing clothes in front of you. This autumn harmony, but keenly captured the key points. Qin Zhenyan quickly said, I mean, I am just